Hey, what is going on, my friends, and welcome back to another video on the channel. Well, in today's video, we are going over Solana as we have been seeing the price do a very interesting move in which it literally does not do much. So what I call this is the dribble effect, of course, in which we can basically see that if you can imagine this being a basketball, the price is literally just dribbling, okay? Now, what we can see based off of a few different indicators is we can finally pinpoint exactly where the breakout will be, what the level will look like, and what we can expect if it happens. Okay, now as the price was falling and trying to recover and falling, we couldn't really pinpoint a breakout. We of course do have this apex down here on October 9th, which we knew it would come before that, but now we know what levels to be looking for to indicate if we're seeing a bullish or a bearish big move to the upside or the downside. So now let's talk about it. So we're going to be going off of two different things right now, but most specifically, we're going to be focusing on the VPVR. Now, the VPVR, just to make it as simple as I possibly can, is just going to be an indicator of significant levels of volume. What that means is that whenever we start to approach these levels that have more and more volume, as we can see here, they're deemed more significant, meaning that there is a higher likelihood that if we're on top of it and we're going down, that we are going to find support, and if we are going up, that we're likely going to find resistance. But what this means is that once we are able to get above, say if we're going up and we get above this peak, of course, if we're looking at it like this peak right here, that there's less and less resistance going down this way, meaning that it's easier for us to see upward momentum. Now, it also means the same on the other way, that if the price is going down, if we are able to go as far down as to clear this key level of resistance and support, that we will likely see the price see more of a collapse to the downside as these levels are deemed a little bit less significant due to their average volume. That is as simple as I can put it, okay? And so what we're looking at right now is a valley between two peaks. We see peak number one and we see peak number two. So what we can anticipate is that the level in which we clear first is going to tell us exactly where this thing more than likely is going in the next few weeks. Now, level number one, let's talk about the bullish scenario, then let's talk about the bearish scenario. The bullish scenario is that we are able to come up and clear right above 159, let's give it $160. Now, as you can see, $160 is the level that we've been struggling at for the last 2 days. Right here, we've come up and we've bounced to it, but we're unable to find support above it. Now, that is going to be simply because that is our peak. That's our key level. And so once we get to that peak, if we're unable to start to clear it, we're going to roll back down the hill, as Crypto Jeb likes to say. Crypto Jeb's amazing. Go check him out. But he gives a great analogy that when you get to this top of this hill, you're going to roll one way or another. And if you don't roll this way, if you don't roll up, you're going to roll back down. Okay. And so you can see as we would get to this peak, we would roll back down and roll back down and roll back down. Okay. And so what we're looking to see is that we're able to clear and hold above 160. If we're able to do that, I do think that that puts us right in line to come back up to test out this next peak somewhere around $167. And honestly, if we even just see that move to the upside there, I'm under the belief that we're gonna see this uptrend continue for Solana. And so right now, more of my main focus is centered around $160. Now, if we are able to clear 160 and we do see that big move to the upside as I am expecting, well, I then think what we can start to pay more attention to is our Fibonacci levels from our all-time high, again set on September 9th, down to the low that was set on September 21st. Now, non-surprisingly, as you can see, we found some resistance directly at the 0.618 to 786 zone. So what we're going to do is just draw a box on the 618 to 786 zone, and we're going to make it green because we want to pass it, of course, okay? And so we're going to get rid of this Fibonacci and just look at this thing. My guess, okay, of course this is all guessing and speculation, just with educated examinations, but my guess is that if we clear 160 and hold it, that we're going to come up to push to 170. If we're able to get above 170 and clear it, I see the 195 test, and at that point I do believe we're going to be looking at all-time highs. That's the 3 steps that we need to take to go set a new all-time high. To get above 60, to get above 78, last but not least 195, and then boom, we're looking at a massive move to the upside, okay? Now pay attention to the fact that we're also, as we do go up there, we're running out of these key significant levels on the VPVR due to the these immense moves through these levels in which we've seen. They don't serve as that important, and so once we can clear them, we can really see some upward momentum, okay? And so what we want to see right now again is that we clear 160 and then expect that push back up towards 178. Now I'm not saying it's going to look like this, I'm not saying it's going to go directly up. It could look something like this, where we come to these different peaks, boom, we go to the valley, peak down to the valley, peak down to the valley. But I do expect that if we're able to clear 160 and start to hold above it, especially this massive peak right here, of course, which is going to serve as key support, I think we could very well be looking at the continuation to the upside. Now, similarly to what we're seeing from the upside, we don't want to see on the downside. Now, what we can see is that we have this key level at 160, and then we have this valley. Now, once we are in the valley, it's similar to like walking up a hill. Again, it's a reference to Crypto Jeb's analogy. It's amazing. Once we get to this valley, it is equally as hard to go up to get back on top of this hill as it is to go down to get back on top of this hill. So if we do start to see ourselves losing $150 and going down, we're marching back up towards this hill. And so as long as we stay above $138, which is our minimal level of support right now, I think we're all good. But if the moment or the instance does come in which we do lose 138, you can see a strong lacking of significance here, which could definitely lead to some continuation to the downside, deeming this a dead cat bounce. So right now, if we lose 150, we have $12 from 150 to 138 to find some support. And if we're unable to do so, there becomes even more of a likelihood that we do see this thing start to crash to the downside. Personally speaking, I think it's more likely that we see this move to the upside. I've been saying that. One of the biggest reasons is this massive bullish divergence that we are seeing on the daily charts. If we look at the daily chart right now and just kind of pay attention to where these lows are being put in, you can see this lower low being set here and then a higher low being set way up here, where in relation to the RSI, we set this low and then we set a lower low. This is textbook bullish divergence. And as long as we are seeing, these lows still work in this fashion and we don't come crashing all the way back down, of course, that is a sign that when we make this move to the upside again, that we have massive potential to the upside, meaning that it is still very possible and very within the realm of possibilities that we do see that new all-time high get set. So overall, I think that with what we are seeing on the RSI, it's more likely that we see the break to the upside. But of course, dependent on what Bitcoin does, if it's able to hold these levels, if it can hold 48,000 and all of that will then dictate where the rest of the market goes. But we can get a bit ahead of that by knowing if we clear 160, the likelihood is there's a very strong chance that we start to work back up once we hold this support. And if we lose 138, there's a very strong chance that we're going to come back down to at least retest this next valley or this hill somewhere around $115. So I will, of course, update you guys and keep you as up to date as I can. I will actually be going out of town on Saturday and Sunday, but I will be back Monday to update you guys. So definitely pay close attention to these levels. Watch to see how they do hold. Watch to see how the volume does pick up or drop down at these levels. And I will see you all very soon in the next video. I hope you all have an absolutely amazing weekend. Have a good one. Peace.